I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
What's going on, everyone? It's Dina Infinity. Welcome to my channel on this Wednesday. This is Breaking the Narrative, and I'm going to be talking to Ian today, Comix Division. Hello, Ian. Welcome
Hi,
back
Nina.
to the channel. Thank you
How you
for
doing?
being here. I'm good. Did you know that I think it was on Tuesday, it was my 5-year anniversary on YouTube.
Oh, no, I didn't. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is my first show since I realized that. So thanks for being my 5-year anniversary guest, I guess I should say.
You're welcome.
We're going to be doing a more proper celebration this Friday with Anna, that Star Wars Girl, my Friday show, which should hopefully balance out this show because we're going to be getting into some very depressing topics today. I am incredibly depressed. I'm gonna tell you that right now. This is a show that I wished I would never do. Like, you know, when you're like hoping and wishing that you kind of know that in the back of your mind that it's always a potential that war with Iran and Israel will break out at some point, and a hot war. It's not like they haven't been in war for many years, but a hot war has finally broken out. And it was something I've always feared, and I wished I'd never have to do a show about it. But here we are. So thank you for joining me today on this very incredibly depressing show. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Yes.
How are you? Like before I invited you on, like the war hadn't started when I invited you on. So I was like, when I invited you on, the plan was to like just catch up with you, see how you're doing, and like just be like, let's talk about Superman coming out. Let's talk about like, all the little pop culture things we haven't talked about in forever because it's been a minute since I've seen you. So tell me how you are. I'm sure everyone in the chat already knows who you are, but if you want to introduce yourself to the chat, please go ahead and just tell me what's going on with you.
Well, I'm sure judging by the people I see in the chat, they know who I am. But I'm Ian, also known as Comix Division. Follow me at Comix Division on Twitter and YouTube. And I typically talk about pop culture and other stuff that happens around the world.
It does happen. So you're not totally out of your element, I feel like.
No, not entirely. I mean, this is a subject I've been passively paying attention to, so I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'm an expert, but yeah, it's interesting. And we'll get into. I'll bring up some prehistory stuff too, which I think kind of factors into a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, I love prehistory stuff. I'm always very interested in knowing. Especially, I will say this: like, I'm actually really interested in what like common sense individuals have to say about certain things, and I feel like you are you are a common sense individual, and I know that about you because of how we've gotten to know each other in the past
Mhm.
5 years, like namely what happened in COVID, right?
Mhm.
Like kind of brought a lot of common sense individuals together, like because we were just calling it like, wait, what's going on here? Like this seems kind of draconian, or this seems like
Mhm.
this. The government mandates might be going too far. Just the ideas that because there's always government overreach whenever it
Right.
comes to
Mhm.
like any kind of situation. And I think it's interesting that I think you're one of those people who kind of understands how bad government can be, the potential.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So what do you know about the conflict so far? Like you said, you've passively been kind of keeping track. So
Well, I mean,
what are
I'll
your thoughts so far on what's going on?
my initial thoughts is because all this what's happening is because of what happened in October of 2023, right? With
Mhm.
the terrorist attacks in Israel, that has, you know, like I say, I know what led up to it. I mean, and the fact that this shit's been going on for years, right? This is oddly enough, in my opinion, this is a conflict that has been going on for thousands of years. Because of,
I
if you know
agree.
anything about the history of Iran, specifically, dating back all the way to Mesopotamia and specifically Assyria.
Mhm.
The Assyrians were pretty brutal people, and I think this is a culture that has persisted throughout the history of Iran. And yeah, it's interesting if you looking at the prehistory of these different civilizations that have kind of grew up in the area and how they've kind of like transformed over the years.
Mhm.
It is pretty enlightening, and it kind of gives you an idea what's kind of like been happening in Iran, Iraq, and all these other countries that have been part of the Mesopotamia area.
Mhm.
Yeah. What led up to it? We know that the whole thing with Palestine and Israel has been going on for generations at this point, ever since the founding of the country. I mean, it got pretty bad in the 90s, and then things calmed down, and here we are back again, things getting bad again.
Yeah.
I do think that this is retaliation because obviously Iran did back, the Palestinians in the attack that happened in October 2023. And
Yeah.
retaliation. This is something
Mhm.
they've been planning for years at this point, maybe
I
longer.
agree.
Who knows? But yeah, it's weird. The last thing I want is for nuclear war to break out or World War III to break out or whatever, because that's definitely not going to be good for anyone. But yeah, I think that this is probably just a big mess.
I agree that it is all a big mess, and I agree that it extends to much longer time before October 7th. I think October 7th kind of gets used as a date
Mhm.
to kind of because it's the most recent um date of
Mhm.
escalation. Let's just say that because it wasn't like they weren't killing them before October 7th. And I mean
No,
that
no.
with regards to both Hamas like
Mhm.
attacking Israel and Israel attacking Palestine. And just the atrocious things that are going on in Gaza. And yes, Iran has always been for Palestine. They've always been standing up with Palestine with against Israel.
Yeah,
Now,
but okay, even then there's a level of complexity there because the Muslim world doesn't give a shit about Palestine. They really don't.
mm,
What they do is they care about using them as a cudgel against Israel.
I
Because
think there's
even
I think there's yes, but I also think there is a somewhat of I don't know, kind of empathy that goes along with it because they really do see that the Palestinians are being well, genocided.
they
Like
don't
I
they
mean,
don't
let's
they
just
don't give
say
a
it.
fuck about them. They really don't. I
You
mean,
don't think so?
yeah, I don't because Egypt has the ability to, when this shit was happening with throughout the years, they could
Mhm.
have basically taken the refugees in, but they don't.
But
A lot of the other areas of the Muslim world won't take the Palestinians in.
That's true, but also, like, how many are they supposed to take? They've taken many, over the years, many, many, many. So, you stand here as an American and talk about, like, your border your
Mhm.
border issues, right?
Oh yeah.
Allowing thousands of people just to come to your country, right? Like, and how
Mhm.
devastating that has been. Other countries feel that same thing. You can't just keep allowing people to come in
Oh,
when
and
your
I'm
other
not gonna
neighbor
I'm not gonna
is
disagree with that.
destroying their home, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh well, why don't you stop destroying their home instead of like us having to keep taking all these refugees in? Maybe you can stop. So I can understand it from their point of view as well. Like, I mean, this is between them, right? Like,
Mhm.
why should Egypt have to take all of the refugees
I
or
don't think they should be
anybody
taking
else?
all of them, but it's a lot of it when it comes down to it is that when it comes to aiding Palestine, it's usually with terrorism and not humanitarian.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
Yeah, it
Definitely.
is. Well,
Yeah.
which goes back to my point about they basically are just using them as a cudgel.
Yeah, well, that's definitely something that is a valid point. I don't disagree with that. We have Russell Hall here for $5 who says Iran was about to give up the option to create nukes. The talks were moving ahead positively. Israel couldn't allow it to happen, so they struck. And I think Russell kind of goes to the heart of the matter here, at least from my perspective, because as far as I know, Iran was in the middle of the talks when
Mhm.
I mean the first time Trump backed out the first in his first term. So because they were having talks,
Mhm.
everybody finally came to a deal. Everyone, including like all the EU, like everybody had come to a deal that Iran had agreed to. And at the last minute, Trump decided no. And of course, Israel has always vetoed anything Iran has
Mhm.
managed to get across. So it's always been like kind of like that. And then finally, again, well, then the other 4 years happened with Biden, the
Mhm.
nuclear talks. Like you know what happened with that. Then Trump is back. They almost had a deal, like what Russell Hall's saying.
Mhm.
They were literally in the middle of making this deal. Iran was going to go back with a final proposal, and that's when Israel decided to hit. And I think that's part of the reason that Iran feels right now like they were maybe betrayed by Trump, because they were in the middle of the deal. And then we've heard several things now from Trump and the United States in general, which I find is a very confusing thing. At least
Mhm.
for me, it's confusing because they kind of feel like they're talking out of the both side of their mouth. Because at one point, the first thing they said was we had nothing to do with it.
Mhm.
Then Trump came out, was like, actually, I knew, and I did have something to do with it. And
Really? That's
we knew
interesting.
he like boasted, right? Because
Mhm.
Trump is like that. He likes to boast. Actually, we did know. And then all of a sudden, other people were like, no, 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 we didn't know, we didn't know. And then he was like, actually, we did know, and I haven't decided what I'm gonna do yet. Like, so it's this big back and forth. Meanwhile, you have the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, which is I believe to be a full-on criminal. I think he's as bad as the government of Iran, like the regime
Mhm.
that's terrible. The other side of it is Netanyahu and just as bad. So we have two very corrupt governments going at it. And I think that one of the reasons October 7th happened, and the way that you said, it just very conveniently aligns with Netanyahu not having to go to jail because his own government wanted to arrest him. They had corruption charges on him. They are, they're just not fond of Netanyahu. There was massive protests going on about his government in Israel when
Yeah,
this
I
went
mean, I
down.
do vaguely remember that during that time period. I mean, because he's been brought up on corruption charges, I want to say for like a number of years.
So many years, yes.
Yeah, but
Because he's a
I
very
mean,
corrupt
I don't
person.
think that the October 13th thing had anything to do with that, though. It's
It's just very convenient there, Ian. It's just very
well,
convenient how it all just goes down. Like
it
all of
is
a sudden,
convenient. I would say it's definitely convenient for him because it means that he could basically backburner all that stuff. But I mean,
well,
I'm not
there's
going to be
that, and
like,
then there's also the idea, right? That right
Mhm.
now, I mean, take right now, for example, you hear these incredible precision strikes that have happened in Iran,
Mhm.
where all these scientists are. They're killing like nuclear scientists. They're killing like very specific targets.
Mhm.
This has been going on for a long time. It's clearly planned for a very long time. They know
Yes.
exactly what they're doing, very precise. But then somehow on October 7th, even though Egypt, that you brought up yourself, had told
Sorry,
them
October
there's,
7th.
uh, hmm?
I said October 13th. I meant, yeah, October 7th.
Yeah, October 7th. October 7th, but somehow, even though they were warned by Egypt that there is a supposedly a massive intelligence thing that's happening
hmm
about Hamas having to possibly attack you.
Okay, I see what you're talking about.
They're gonna ignore that,
hmm
and then they're gonna leave this fence open in a country that is just incredibly a police state. Like they are
hmm
they are a police state. There is soldiers literally everywhere, and somehow on that day there was no one. There was no one to stop these people from entering Israel, one of the most heavily guarded
hmm
countries in the world. In a place where they know that they're in constant war with Hamas,
hmm
and somehow this border is just there's too many inconsistencies in the Israeli story for me to, follow everything along in the way that Netanyahu has done certain things and just think to myself, oh, there's no corruption involved here. There's no funny business going on.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? There's just some things that are just seem incredibly convenient. Let's just say that.
I mean, it's certainly a possibility. I wouldn't rule it out, but like I said, I just don't know enough about it to say with certainty. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, have governments in the past done things like this? Yeah, I mean, back in the 60s, you had the U.S. Liberty incident where Israel went and sunk a U.S. warship, basically trying to start a war. Was it with Iran?
Yes.
No, it was Egypt. It was Egypt because the
it was Egypt.
It was the 7 days war that happened during that time period, and I think that's when that happened. So yeah, I mean, it like I said, governments have done this, and not specifically just Israel. I mean, literally every government has done things like that before.
All
Ours
governments,
has done it.
US,
the United States
everyone,
has done it quite a bit.
Everybody. So. Yeah, it's not synonymous to any particular group. I just find it very fascinating that Iran is constantly kind of put under this banner of, oh, they're all extremists, they're all this, they're all that, but the other side is literally also extremists, literally also religious extremists. It's not even that they're just regular extremists, they're just the other type of extremists. They're the Jewish extremists. So we have Jewish extremists and then Muslim extremists on the other side.
I'm going to push back a little bit on that because Israel actually is a secular country, despite the fact that it is a Jewish state. It is actually a secular country.
Currently, the government is a Zionist fringe government of Netanyahu's, and that is why that this is so annoying because the Israeli people don't like him. They don't like this extremist government that they have, and that's I think that is part of the reason that Israel itself wants him out. Like they don't want him. They don't like him. They don't think that he represents the broader Israeli people, which I also agree. I don't think he does.
But yeah, the main difference I would say is that, Israel is a secular government, despite what you might think of the leader.
Sure.
Whereas Iran actually is a theocracy.
Yes, that is true. We are
it is different.
By we, I mean the Iranian government.
Right.
Is definitely a theocracy. I agree. We have a couple more super chats here. Russell Hall for 2 says Trump's posts about this have been unhinged. I agree with you, Russell Hall. Wow, I can't believe 2 in a row. I'm agreeing with Russell. He's been just very inconsistent and very kind of unhinged. It just, he goes to, what did he tweet out? Let me bring up his thing. I don't want to misquote him, but he went like something like surrender or like that kind of thing. Let me bring up his page.
Well, and again, I think a lot of the stuff that Trump does, he tends to be bombastic about, right?
Always. So, that's definitely something you can trust with Trump.
And a lot of it for me, it's like anything people say about Trump, I take with a grain of salt, and because the man is a showman. He says a lot of bombastic, crazy shit.
So this one is the unconditional surrender one, which I'm like, I mean, they're like, this is why I don't understand where he's coming from. And it's confusing because you're literally in the middle of negotiations with someone, right? Like you're in the middle of negotiations. One side kind of backstabs the other one. Let's assume that Trump didn't know. Okay, let's just pretend, give him the benefit of the doubt and say he didn't backstab Iran and he didn't know that Israel was going to do this, and kind of lulling the Iranians to a false sense of security. Let's just pretend that that's the case. But you have one side, you have two sides, wanting to war against each other. At least one side really wants to war with the other side. And the other side's like, look, I'm not making nukes. I don't care about you. I'm not doing that to hurt you. Right. And then all of a sudden the other side is like, no, you are, and I'm going to kill you for it. So then they attack the other side. Trump being in the middle, right? Tweeting out something like this, it's almost as if it's like the negotiations are now done. It's no longer about reaching a common goal. It is now about surrender, and surrender gives a different picture, right? Than
and again, I'm gonna go with the big ask. I don't think that's what he's banking for. I think the greater issue here for me with what's happening is that ever since 9/11, the United States government has been chomping at the bit to invade Iran. Right?
Of course, I agree.
This is something that I can never remember the name of the general that said this, but there was actually an interview.
Bolton, maybe?
No, this is back in the early 2000s. Okay. This guy was general. I could probably find the clip, but yeah, he basically kind of lays out during this interview where people basically said, came to him talking about, we're going to war. And, first we're going, Wesley Clark. Thank you. KB. That's Wesley Clark who said that. And basically talked about how we're going to Iran and Iraq and then Iran and all this stuff, basically just the whole regime change thing, which, it doesn't work. Okay. Cause we're talking about most people in the Middle East don't want freedom. Okay. They're not Americans. They're not craving for freedom. It's like I said, going back, culturally, it's not what they want. And the idea of trying to force freedom on people is a huge mistake.
I agree.
And so this has been in the works for not even 25 years at this point. Probably
the problem with it happening now, though, Ian, is the fact that Trump specifically ran on the no war ticket. Now, of course, he had other things he wanted to do, like the border for domestically, because his campaign was make America great again. That's literally what MAGA is, right? And America first, right? Because they wanted to kick out the illegals, bolster the economy, and even to some extent, the tariffs went to that, right? Because his idea was that in order to that America has paid enough to the world, we need something back, right? The tariffs even went into that, right? So he went from those things, and then all of a sudden we've taken a very sharp turn. Things escalated incredibly quickly because on his birthday, a man who this Donald Trump has hated for years, and I'm talking about Netanyahu, all of a sudden for his birthday, he decided, happy birthday, Donald Trump. I'm starting the war with Iran, whether you like it or not. Because again, let's assume that he didn't know. And let's assume that even if he did know, he vetoed it. Like he said, you guys don't do shit without us. Let's say he said that to Netanyahu. For his birthday, that's the present he got from Bibi. And I just can't help but think to myself, if somebody that I incredibly disliked all of a sudden went behind my back and did this, I would be fucking pissed. And I would be like, you know what? You can go fuck yourself, bro. You're certainly not getting my help now. Even if I was going to help you, you're certainly not going to get my help this way because you went behind my back and now I look like shit in front of my constituents and the world. And everybody thinks I'm like George W. Bush. Have you seen the memes out there, dude? Because everybody is comparing him to George W. now, including even freaking Alex Jones. I'm like, what is happening?
I don't know. I can't really say I know what goes on through the mind of Trump. I do think in certain regards, Trump is easy to manipulate if you know what you're doing, which is ingratiating yourself with him. Trump, I think this is as big as his weakness is he wants to be liked, right?
He wants to be liked. I agree.
And they could have gone in and said, hey, if you back this, you'll be greeted as a liberator, which is not the case. And so I think that it goes back to he's listening to the wrong fucking people again. It's the only thing I can think of, because as a lot of people point out in the chat, no new wars. That's one of the reasons why I voted for the man, right? Because unfortunately, a lot of people. That's funny. A lot of people were like, "Oh, this wouldn't happen under Kamala Harris." It's like bull fucking shit. Okay,
bullshit.
Yeah, this was going to happen.
This was gonna happen no matter what. And I'll say this to the people who say this wouldn't have happened under Kamala.
Yeah,
I say bullshit, and not just that. Technically, the U.S. is still not involved because Trump still, as of right now, has not gone in hot yet. Okay, that's a key word. If it was Kamala, you bet your fucking ass that they would be in there right now. They would have been there the first minute Israel fired those rockets or bombs or whatever the fuck. It would be literally the second that happened. It wouldn't even be a discussion. So I don't believe in that as well. I think like Trump, it's interesting that we have Trump right now, because I think he's actually kind of giving it a chance. Like there's still a minute chance that he may say no to Bibi Netanyahu. And I think that I personally think that's what's, but I think that's going to make or break his legacy. I really do. And I think that's why he hasn't said it, because he knows how unpopular that decision is. I think he actually does watch Tucker Carlson and even people like Candace Owens and the very
at the very least, I'd say his kids do, whether he doesn't or not, because obviously I think Barron was pretty influential on him during his run, for his not his second term, but third attempt. For me, when it comes to fucking around with Iran, it's our fault that Iran's kind of in the state that it is because of what happened with the Shah. And it's like beforehand, Iran did have a democracy.
We still have a democracy. Like the Iran does have a democracy. It's just a theocratic democracy. So they do elect their president. They do elect their Congress and all of the people that represents them. They are all elected.
It's really, it was the mullahs that basically run things there. The Shah, not Shah, sorry, the Ayatollah. The Shah is the guy that we put in place in the 60s that kind of led it to all this, because ultimately beforehand they did have a democracy. It was not a theocratic democracy. It was pretty liberal in Iran.
It was liberal.
Yeah. We installed the Shah with the help of Britain because of oil. And of course you had the Islamic Revolution.
Still because of oil, dude. It's still because of oil. This is why this is so annoying, because everyone's like, oh, it's the nukes. It's the WMDs. And I'm like, come on, guys. We all know it's the oil.
It goes back to it's several things, right? Because we had these exact same discussions going on when Obama was president.
Sure,
that was part of the reason.
Trump. Yeah, Trump was saying that.
Because it's like but at the same time, do I think that they are trying to enrich uranium to get a nuke? Absolutely, I do. I think they are. I think this is something that. It's like one of Saddam Hussein's sons, before he died, basically said that the Middle East needs to get a nuke so they can use it as a bargaining chip. Now, is that the reason why they want it? Maybe. My main concern is some crazy idiot getting a hold of them and creating dirty bombs, or actually using nukes on Europe or America, because there are people in the Middle East that are zealous enough to go and do that. So I think that Iran having nukes is a concern. I'm not sure what the best thing is to prevent that. Negotiations, war, etc.
I agree with you, because any kind of zealot, you don't want them to have access to nukes. Even in the US, people were scared when Biden was president, not because he's a zealot, but because he's old and senile. So people were like, we're scared that, he's going to wake up one day and be like, I want some ice cream. Let me press this button. Cause that's, the people that bring my ice cream, I have this button that I press and oh shit, it's the nuke kind of thing. Right. It's a silly joke.
We've been making jokes like that with, ever since Reagan was president. They did that in the Land of Confusion video where he hits the button, which says nurse, and next one over is nukes, and he hits the nuke button by accident. I mean, yeah. So I mean, Biden's not our first senile president.
Certainly not. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I think everywhere, if you're a common sense individual, everywhere in the world, you're kind of concerned about zealots or weirdos or just generally speaking, crazy people having access to a nuke, or people who are not of sound mind, but that could also be people who are senile, right?
Yeah.
Now, but to counter that, we also have Israel, who has zealots there as well, who what's it called? Not unconditionally. Under what word am I looking for here? Ian, help me out. Like underneath, not like they're not overtly like.
Oh, they're not overtly zealots.
No, like they don't overtly have nukes, like because they haven't announced that they have nukes to the world. Everyone knows, but it's like an open secret that Israel has nukes.
That Israel has nukes. Yeah.
Yes, it's an open secret that everyone has nukes, but not Israel has nukes, but not officially because they refuse everybody going in. They also they don't let people to go in to figure out if this isn't true or not. They also refuse even journalists to go into Gaza, like world like. Anyone that's not part of Israel, kind of thing, like the outer world. Israel's very closed off in that sense. So why is it that they're allowed and they have carte blanche to do what
I haven't answered that. It's an easy one. It's because they're an ally. I mean, honestly, that's the easiest answer. Is that they're viewed as an ally, and Iran is viewed as an adversary. I mean, that's the reason.
Is that it? So they have the carte blanche to do whatever the fuck they want, just because
I wouldn't say
whatever
the fuck they want, but
they're killing people, Ian. Like they're literally killing kids.
Well, I mean, that unfortunately that door goes both ways. All right. I don't have a lot of sympathies for the Palestinians as much as I don't have a lot of sympathies for the for the Israelis. I mean, for the exact same reasons. And do I want any of those groups to die? No, certainly not. But at the same time, this is something that has been going on for, like I said, generations. It predates the creation of Israel.
And I mean, look at this comment. Israel store our nuclear tech and somehow we're fine with that. So what kind of an ally steals tech? Like, I mean, this is, when you say they're our ally, I feel like those are sometimes words.
Okay. Like, the best way of putting it, no, it's true though. They are our ally. I mean, yeah, you're right. They stole our tech. I don't have an answer for that as far as why they're still an ally. I don't. Other than the fact that I know that the funny thing about it is everyone likes to go, oh well, Israel's manipulating the U.S. It's like, I think it's the other way around. I think the reason why we keep them as an ally is because, isn't
it like don't you think
they're like our staging point for the Middle East?
Yeah, but don't you think they're manipulating each other? I think like everybody manipulates everybody.
I think it's probably two ways. I mean, they're manipulating us. I think we manipulate them a lot more potentially.
I think it's both.
I think they know, for the most part, that if Israel gets into it with the Middle East, they know America's going to back them up.
Yeah,
I think it's what it comes down to. I think it's the reason why they feel that they can get away with certain things in the Middle East.
I agree with that. Let me get a couple of these super chats again. So we got Russell Hall. Thank you for the 2. So Trump posts have been. Oh, we got that one. Thank you. Bird Up for $5 says it's not our fight. I don't want boots on the ground. In all seriousness, I don't think Trump does either. And you know what's weird, Bird Up, is I don't think Trump does either. I really don't. I think that I really do think he feels like this. He's caught in, between a rock and a hard place, because on the one hand, like Ian said, Israel's your ally and you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do as the ally. Also, he has taken a lot of money from people like Miriam Adelson, who is a very big advocate of Israel. So it's hard to say no to some of these people. But he has so far, he still said no. So And I think his popularity is on the line for him and his legacy. And I really don't think he wanted this to be his legacy. I think his legacy, he wanted to be the guy, first of all, that came back against all odds. That,
Mhm.
even when they cheated, even through it all, even if they wanted to put him in jail and all of the stuff, he came back, and then he saved America from the illegal aliens or whatever, illegal immigrants, and B, he fixed the economy through tariffs and all these other things, and then possibly have ended the war with Ukraine and Russia, and possibly like at least avoided a bigger escalation in Israel and Iran. But that
Here we are.
one
Mhm.
is
Still up in the air.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that one is still, we don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen. And honestly, like I do pray that he doesn't do anything more to
Well,
escalate. But
I think regardless whether we're directly involved in it or not, we're going to get blamed. The United States will be blamed because the fact that we have been close allies with Israel for a very long time. We do supply them with military aid. We're going to get blamed regardless.
I agree.
Which is the unfortunate thing.
I know. I agree with you. I think, or the reality is,
Iran hates America. I mean, in a lot of ways, they're looking for an excuse to hate on us more when it comes to the whole Israel thing. No, like legit, it's true. I mean,
I agree.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with you, but I also think like, well, I mean, like if they had stopped giving them a reason to hate them, then maybe they wouldn't, so much. Like just how tight they are with Israel and like letting Israel do whatever the fuck they want would have helped. But hey, here we are. Russell Hall for $5. Thank you. Says the thing is, Iran is way too big for Israel to prevail in a conventional war. At some point, absent U.S. involvement, their only option will be nukes. I don't know, man. I don't think anyone over there, and including Iran, and this is one of the reasons that I have a problem with this, is because
I don't think Israel wants a ground war with Iran. They don't.
No, and they know they'll lose that too.
What I honestly think was supposed to happen is exactly what is not happening right now. They have their initial bombardments back and forth. There's a bit of saber rattling from the U.S. and then Iran capitulates, and they basically said. And I was on Brahma Bull stream, and Little Chad was mentioning that by Monday this will be all over. Nope, it's not. Okay, because he was dead certain that basically Iran would have come to the negotiating table, and Iran did not. I think ultimately,
well, they didn't go back. They wanted to go to the negotiating table, and now they're supposed to go again, by the way. So they've set another date for Friday. Now the U.S. hasn't agreed to go, but Iran is apparently meeting with the United Nations. What's it called?
The UN.
The UN Security Council.
Security Council. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was what was supposed to happen, and it's a good possibility it could still end up that way. I don't think Israel was ever entertaining a ground war with Iran. Never.
I don't think so either. Yeah. I mean, it just wouldn't work because Iran is so big. So big. Russell Hall for $2 says there is a court of hardline extremists in Israel. Yes, and they're the ones that Bibi Netanyahu has tied his freaking wagon to.
Well, and okay, going back to the whole hardline extremists is different than having a theocracy.
This is true also.
Yeah. That's ultimately my point. It doesn't mean that a secular democracy can't have hardliners religious hardliners at that, but it's still not a theocracy. I mean, we used to have religious hardliners in the U.S. back in the 80s with the religious right. I mean, it's like it does happen.
It's true. You did. I mean, do you guys still have any like very
not really
religious people that are?
I mean, there's still religious people in the United States, absolutely, but like
no, I mean like political, like hardcore Catholic. Like I don't think so. I can't even think of any.
Well, I think the religious right was mainly Protestant.
Okay.
Yeah. They were absolutely Protestant. I'm totally blanking on the dude's name from the 80s. Who was like the big
I'm trying to find this video I saw, and I can't find it. It really like the dude did a great job at kind of explaining like what's going on with Israel right now. But it's like one of those things where you
Russell
can't
Hale,
find.
I am serious, dude. The religious right isn't a thing in the United States anymore. It's simply not politically. They got destroyed back in the 90s, man. Absolutely.
I mean, I definitely don't think they're as prevalent. I think that there's still some, but
Oh,
again,
yeah, I mean,
they're fringe now. Like they're not the thing.
exactly. It's fringe, but it's like they hold no institutional power like they used to.
That's what I'm saying. Like there is some, and just like what's happened with Israel, the fringe of their society, like these two people that he's like, he's really involved with, and Netanyahu, are the ones that are the fringe people, and like they're the ones that want the Zionist control over Israel and Palestine and Iran, and they believe they're the chosen people, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's very weird. I find extremists very weird on every side.
Well, okay. And again, the whole thing with God's chosen people, that's a lot of lore to get into. It really is. Yeah, you have to study religion during that time period, like prehistory. Well, I mean, technically, it's not technically prehistory, but it is ancient history, because there is a lot of commonalities with religions from the Middle East during that time period that are found amongst Israel, various Sumerian religions, Mesopotamian religions. Yeah, it's really interesting. It is really interesting to see how many like Old Testament like myths are very prevalent against other religions during that time period in the Middle East. So there is such a shared history and of religion in that area. What ultimately happened is the Yahwehnists are the ones that won, because originally the Hebrews were polytheistic. They weren't always monotheistic like they are now. And that's where it comes in. That's where a lot of it comes in.
That's interesting. This is, for example, one of the, like I saw this the other day.
No, it's not Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson was definitely a part of it, Beatnik, but no, it's there was a lot of them during that time period. But the religious right did have a lot of pull back in the 80s when it came to politics.
They did have a lot of pull, like that.
And
I do remember
in the 90s as well.
Yeah, that I do remember, because that's when I grew up, like in the 90s, and I was like, I mean, I remember Satanic Panic on all.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember it very, very well because I lived through it. So
yeah, the same. Now this is like, for example, an example of what I'm talking about when I say like extremist Zionists. Like, it's like, has anyone considered the possibility that America has miraculously survived so many close calls over the centuries? Is that our purpose is to defend Israel? If we quit Israel, I believe God may quit us, and I'm not prepared to take that chance. I mean, I feel like this is so silly. Like personally, I think this is such a silly line of thought. But this is kind of an example of the silliness.
Yeah, but like I said, okay, I'm not familiar with Bill Mitchell. Is he a politician or? I
don't even know who this guy is. Let me see. Who's Bill Mitchell? CEO of Your Voice, Studio Inc., host of Your Voice America. The account is owned and managed by Bill Mitchell. Okay. So excited for the next 4 years. #mega. That's who this guy is. I don't know who he is. But it just, like, I feel like this is the kind of rhetoric that we often hear from people who are very pro war. You know, they're the chosen people, and we're also chosen because we got to help them because they're the chosen, and it's just a bunch of chosen people helping each other out.
Yep.
Clay Thompson, thank you for the $5. Anyone remember the last century listed in the Wesley Clark 7 food for thought?
Okay, now I remember. Is democracy
if you country listed?
Yeah,
I don't know what this means.
He basically, I think it was like 7 countries they listed that they want to go invade. Democracy Now has the interview with Wesley Clark. I just remembered it. I highly suggest going and looking it up and checking it out, because he basically talks about this, and he lists the 7 countries that they talk about what they want to go invade. And Iran was one of them.
Let's see if I can find a clip.
If you want, I can go take a look. I can look for it.
I think I found it. No, this one's 7 minutes long though. God.
That's probably it. I mean, you don't have to watch the whole thing.
Shorter version.
Like,
do they have the clip?
It's a much longer video. I mean, it's.
Don't they have a clip of a clip? This is TikTok Nation, guys. Come on. Let's see.
7 countries in 5 years.
Yeah, that's it.
Iraq, and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran. I said, is it classified?
Pinpointed it.
Yes, sir. I said, well, don't show it to me.
Did you like that, Ian? That was like, I didn't know. I didn't listen to it. I just put it at a minute mark.
Yeah.
And he said it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
How that turned out.
I recommend watching the entire interview. I want to say it's like an hour long.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
That's
good
an old one.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the $5, E. Clay. We get $2 from Russell Hall. This is the worst I've seen from Trump. I agree. He was making me mad yesterday, dude. I was like, I don't understand what's happening. And I did think he was going to attack, but then he didn't. And I was like, I don't understand what's happening. I don't like the flip flopping. It just feels very
well. And during his run, I mean, because he brought up, they're talking about Ukraine and people were pushing him on Ukraine. He's like, I just don't want people to die. It's like, that's an admirable goal. I mean, that's the reason why we should, try and end the war in Iraq. Excuse me, Ukraine.
Yeah, they all sound
that
the
too,
same.
right? It all fucking blends together, right? Because it's
really does. It's all
like I said, the shit going on right now with us wanting to invade, it's not new.
No.
And like I said, you could say it goes as far back as the 60s with the Shah and whatnot. But anytime we go and fuck with Iran, we literally make the country worse.
Like this is, and I mean like any country, man. Anytime you guys have gone in to mess with regime change bullshit, it has not gone well, and that is why Tucker Carlson and so many people are vocal, because they're like, dude, have we not learned this? I mean, Trump was the one like screaming about it at one of the debates, like how Bush made a mistake, Iraq war was a mistake, this, that, and the other, and then like this is the kind of stuff that pissed me off yesterday. Where there was reports that Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said that Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon, and somebody asked Trump about it, and this is what he had to say.
You've always said that you don't believe Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon, but how close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having it.
It's a very Trump thing to say.
Yeah, I don't care what she said. They were very close to having one. Now that was kind of reconfirmed by JD Vance, who made a long tweet about this whole thing, but said like, because somebody had commented to him, well, like Tulsi Gabbard said this, and he said, well, a lot changes since then. And I'm like, well, what then? Like, how come you guys are supposed to be like the transparent, the transparent party or whatever you want to talk to the people, but yet no one's being told what is exactly going on, and then we're just getting unhinged tweets or truth socials from Donald Trump where he says things like we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding, he's an easy target, but it's safe there, we cannot going to take him out, kill, at least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is ready. And thank you for your attention. He said another thing here. I'm gonna talk about evacuating Tehran.
I'm gonna break that one down a little bit. I think this is exactly the same shit he did when he was. I'm trying to remember. I think it was the Afghanis, and basically during a negotiation with the Afghans, because we had something set up where we were going to pull out of Afghanistan. Of course, Biden fucked all that up. But Trump literally slid over a piece of paper with the dude's house on it. He's like, what's this? It's like, it's your house. What does this mean? You do the math.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I I don't remember that.
It's actually a thing.
Wow.
I'm butchering the quote. But yeah, he's done shit like this before, where it's like, yeah, here's a picture of your house. We know where you live, and we could bomb you at any time. Is what it comes down to. Which, I'm fine with negotiating tactics like that. Because it's
just. I mean, I understand. I guess that the tactic is, I feel, is a little bit crass.
It is, but a lot of these people respect power and strength, and if you show them power and strength, they're gonna fucking back down.
Sure.
Now, will that work all the time?
I don't know how well it's gonna work, because I mean, here we are. The thing is that I just feel like I think Israel fucked them over. I really do. I think
they probably did.
I don't think Donald Trump wanted this war, but I think Israel kind of forced his hand, and now he's like, well, fuck. And I think that's why, because I saw Russell, you're saying he's being really erratic. I think that's why he's being erratic, Russell, because I really didn't expect this. I think he just doesn't know what he's gonna do. Actually, I saw an actual video of that today, because he was literally saying, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I'm gonna decide probably 5 minutes before I do know what I'm gonna do. Here it is. Actually, here I
think what it comes down to, and I hope this is not what they're trying to do on the Israel side, because what it comes down to is if there actually is a war, an actual war, not this skirmish that we're having right now, or I should say Israel's having.
Like there's a declaration of war.
America is going to back Israel. That's all there is to it. I mean, that's just the way it is with this country. Because again, going back to the whole thing with them being an ally, if they basically put boots on the ground, America is going with them, and they know it. And that's the thing that's so fucking frightening.
But don't you think that if that happens, don't you think that is going to destroy Donald Trump's A, base and support that he had, and B, it's going to kind of galvanize the people who said that he was kind of like Hitler, like that he did want to just kind of take over the world, and here he is. And I mean, he's also never he also has not ended the Ukraine-Russia war as of yet.
Yeah. So, I think it'll be spun that war, because remember, ultimately it's Congress who declares war, not the president.
Correct. That is true. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that would be Trump's saving grace, is the fact that a declaration of war would come from Congress. And honestly, I don't remember how all that shit works. I just know it comes from Congress. I don't know if the president has to approve it or not, or if it's basically Congress does it and it's a done deal. I know that what the president can do is send the Marines in. He doesn't need a declaration of war to use the Marines. That has it honestly, it's always any kind of police action that has transpired over the last 40 years at this point always involves the Marines, and only the Marines. It's basically, that's how Vietnam started, is that we're sending Marines over because the president can use the Marines.
And I think it's interesting that you say that, because you say, like, no matter what, like, US will go in.
Yeah.
Do you think, but don't you think that kind of will definitely expand the war then? I mean, there's going to be China involved. There's going to be Russia involved. There is definitely, like, Pakistan has already kind of said that they're going to be backing Iran. So are we talking about a world war then at that point? Because people are going to be starting to draw lines.
Potentially, yeah. I think the issue too is that if that actually happens, every country that has a beef is going to use it as an excuse to go after their opposition. Pakistan and India, China and Taiwan, Russia and not Western Europe, but probably parts of Western Europe or Eastern Europe. It's like the whole thing with Ukraine. People are like, oh, they're going to go for Poland. Putin's the next Russia. I mean, excuse me, he's the next Nazi Germany. Obviously it is Russia. He wants to go and take over Europe. And it's like, no, he just basically wants the Russian land back.
Yeah. No, people were saying that he wants the USSR back, which I don't believe that either. I don't think he just wanted he wanted to annex Ukraine because they wanted to be annexed.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them wanted to be.
And again, that's a very complicated thing. And this is the problem with a lot of the shit. Even like after the fall of the Soviet Union in the 90s, where you basically had Bosnia and Herzegovina going at it, right? All the shit has been pent up hatred and rage that
Yeah.
the USSR kept at bay for a very long time, for 100 years, roughly.
I think there's a lot of
90,
pent up
I guess
rage here
90-ish.
too.
Yeah. But the thing is, when you basically you had that power vacuum, that's what allowed these countries to start fucking going and killing, and not countries, sorry, ethnic groups, because that's what they are. The reason why they start going and fucking killing each other. It's the same thing that we saw in Iraq with the Kurds. I mean, there's all these things, like the whole problem with the Middle East is you have all these ethnic groups that have been forced together into countries that honestly don't need to be countries together. It's like when Bush was like, there's not going to be no Kurdistan. It's like, maybe there should be.
Yeah, maybe there should be for all the Kurds.
Yeah.
Here's what he had to say today.
Have you seen the Tucker Carlson and Senator Ted Cruz interview? It seems like this issue on whether or not the United States should strike is kind of dividing a lot of your supporters.
No, my supporters are for me. My supporters are America first. They make America.
He sounds. This is one of the first times I've ever heard him sound old.
He's probably
old
tired.
and tired. Like he sounds like I just don't want any of this. Like that's what it
well,
just
I'm sure he is, because of the fact that of what's happening and the potential to be dragged into World War III at this point. I mean, I would be too. I'd be stressed. I'd be tired. I'd be concerned. But at the same time, you gotta project strength. You can't be like Joe Biden and be like, oh, I need a nap.
This is the first time I feel like Trump needs a nap.
And my supporters don't want to see Iran have a nuclear weapon. Tucker's a nice guy. He called and apologized the other day because he thought he said things that were a little bit too strong. And I appreciated that. And Ted Cruz is a nice guy. I mean, he's been with me for a long time. I'd say once the race was over, he's been with me ever since, right? But very simple. If they think that it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon, then they should oppose me. But nobody thinks it's okay. People that don't want, I don't want to fight either. I'm not looking to fight. But if it's a choice between fighting and them having a nuclear weapon, you have to do what you have to do. Maybe we won't have to fight. Don't forget, we haven't been fighting. We add a certain amount of genius to everything.
Maybe we don't have to fight. Don't forget, we haven't been fighting, even though like 5 minutes ago he was being like, "Yeah, that's right, we fought. we helped them." Oh wait, we didn't. That was an issue on the Tucker thing. I'll show you the clip of it. That was actually. So this is the very viral clip, and then I'll show you this other clip that I haven't actually seen. But this one's the very viral Tucker Carlson clip with Ted Cruz, who almost made a major oopsie at the end of this.
How many people live in Iran, by the way? I don't know the population. At all? No, I don't know the population. You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple? How many people live in Iran? 92 million. Okay. I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
He's so stupid.
And predominantly Shia. Okay.
It's not even... You don't know anything about Iran.
What's Aleppo?
Ethnic groups, and he's like, Persians and predominantly Shia. Like, dude, bro, come on. Wow. That's terrible.
Okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
claims anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
They're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that,
we're carrying out military strikes today.
Okay, pause it. Okay.
It's our help.
The thing I find
Israel is
really interesting about this is, remember, they were trying to pin the Butler assassination attempt on Trump on Iran. And it's like, dude, it was committed by a white dude.
The Butler did it.
Yeah, because I think that if they actually succeeded, the the Biden administration would have blamed Iran, and that was going to be the excuse to go.
I agree.
To go in.
But also that guy was Ukrainian. Like the guy had literally gone to Ukraine to like freaking bring in the people for Ukraine and be like, let's go fight. The Ukraine kicked him out because he was too much of a zealot for the Ukraines.
Kicked out who?
Like the
Tucker?
murderer dude, the guy that shot.
Yeah. That's sad. The second, the second guy. I was like, sorry, I wasn't thinking about that.
The first one?
I was talking about the first one. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's two. That's what I'm saying. They're both white.
Yeah.
They were both white weirdos. And somehow Iran, it was Iran's fault, according to Ted. But hey, it also according to Israel, because Netanyahu also said they're trying to kill Donald Trump. You guys need to help him. Because
that's fucking bullshit. That's it's like when Bush said Saddam Hussein tried to assassinate my dad. It's like, what the fuck are you even talking about, dude?
I
have legit no idea what the hell he's talking about. It's like, if there is proof, fucking show it.
I know, but this part was great because Ted was like, "We." Like, he talks about we as if like it's the U.S. and Tucker's just like, wait, what the did you just say?
It's against them in retaliation. And if you really believe
we're
that,
carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was
right with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so that went incredibly viral last night. I haven't watched the full interview. I haven't had time today, but I did watch some of it. It gets really it's really good because Tucker has a way of interviewing people where he just kind of gives them the shovel and he's like, please dig. Just dig, right? And they just
here's a shovel. There's a spot. Start digging.
Exactly.
Okay. Here's the issue with that. You could technically say we because we are providing material support to Israel.
Sure.
In the form of weapons, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that would honestly that would be my interpretation, and I'm not just being generous to.
Ted wasn't careful with his words.
Yeah, I don't think he was being careful with his words. There's lots of situations where Biden has done stuff like that too.
I mean, come on, it's Biden.
And then there's times too where it's like he's probably telling the truth. Like when he said, we randomly blurted out, "I have cancer," and then we find out he has cancer.
Yeah, but if you watch the full interview, you kind of get a better perspective of it because just watch him try to explain AIPAC. And how he's like, oh no, it has nothing to do with Israel, and no, Israel's not paying AIPAC, and I mean, he says the most bullshit that you're like,
yeah,
come on, and that's why it's really funny. But we're gonna watch another clip of it in a second. Mad Cabal for $10 says Trump also has played lip service to the hawks in the government.
He has,
who have proven that they will sabotage him.
Yes,
like they did in the last presidency. Bear in mind that these tweets might be set to satisfy them. That's
possibly
a really interesting point. That's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
And that's why I hope, because the final decision kind of does rest on him, even though, of course, the final decision is the Congress, but he is the commander in chief. Like, he will have to order them to. So I hope he doesn't. Russell, thank you for the 5. Says Iran considers nuclear arms to be fatwa. This is true. That's not just a talking point. It's their core theological stance they consider it against Islam. And this is exactly why, Russell, I find you such a fascinating person, because you say things like this and I'm like, wow, this guy's, he just knows some stuff. So this is true. And that's why one of the reasons that I've always been kind of like this whole idea that Iran would use a nuclear weapon on Israel specifically. Like, I'm just talking Israel, just generally. They would never, because Israel is such a small country. And one of the things that they've always been for is the Palestinian cause and people. And they know that if they nuked Israel, there would go their people that they're trying to save as well. So it is just antithetical to the whole idea. They do believe it's fatwa. They don't believe that it should be used like that. And then there's a lot of things that holds them back. Like their religion does also hold them back in a lot of ways, and that's one of them. So this whole idea, I just feel like Israel does a lot of projection, because if they had it, they'd want to use it. So, and I think they do have it, but somehow,
Oh no, they absolutely do have it.
we're just gonna all sit back and pretend they don't. It's okay. It's okay. Russell, thank you for the 2. Says Nina, there's no way for us to stay out of this now. Russell, I always hope you're wrong, and I hope you're wrong about this too.
Yep.
But I don't think you are. I'll say that. I don't think you are. I think it's a very high percentage that the U.S. is going to get involved. I wasn't born yesterday.
Yeah.
But,
There's a really good meme I saw. It was taken from that Gillette commercial where the dude's like looking at the chick, and there's the guy stopping him.
Mhm.
And it says, with the chick, it says Iran, Israel,
Mhm.
and it says the U.S. government, and then the guy stopping him, it says the American citizens.
I have to say, I'm actually kind of really proud of the American citizens so far. I feel a lot of voices have been very outspoken against this. Like, most people really do want the best for America. Like, they don't want the American people. Like, they're like, this isn't our war. Like, let them fight it out. It's like that meme, the let them fight, that.
Let them find out and let God sort it out, I suppose. And
Yeah.
I have to agree with Russell. I think he's right. The Pandora's box has been opened, and
I agree.
Yeah, I don't want it any more than the next guy. This is not what I voted for, and it's not what I want. And like I said, sadly, at this point, I feel like regardless of who we have as president, this is going to happen at some point.
It's really upsetting, Comix.
It is. It sucks, man. I mean, it's what is.
I mean,
what
I have
is what it
family
is.
there. Like, this is why this is it's hitting so close to home, because I hate talking about politics. I actually have, I kind of took a step back about talking about politics, because I was like, you know what, there's just really no point. Who cares? And then this happens, and I have family in Tehran right now. I have family in all over Iran, but mainly in Tehran. And I mean, this is devastating. So when I see things like when Donald Trump was tweeting out, like, tell Tehran to evacuate, I'm like, there's millions of people in Tehran. Where are they going to go? There's no, like, it's unbelievably compact. Like, that, what we're talking about is the amount of lives we're talking about is catastrophic. I mean, for humanity, if this happens the way that it's being projected to happen. And it just makes me incredibly sad. And I have to, the only thing I have left is prayer, because I mean, what else am I going to do? I
to a
just
higher
pray to
power,
God.
praying for sanity,
Yeah.
cooler heads prevail.
Really pray, man. Russell Halford too says, and the economy is likely about to tank. Yes. Hashtag $2,000 oil. You're not wrong about that either, Russell, because the oil is being completely fucked right now. Like, this oil.
Well, this is part of
plays
the issue with the reliance on foreign oils, because if there is a war like this that does happen, let's hope that it doesn't happen. But if it
200.
does, I mean, it's gonna disrupt. $200 a barrel. That's not good for
Yeah.
anybody. Not
No.
here. It's the reason why during the first
at least Iran
administration we
hasn't-
were drilling here in the United States for oil rather than getting it from overseas.
And see, and that's the stuff that Trump wanted to bring back. And I think he should stick to that. Make America great again, and leave the rest of us alone, Trump. God. And then, but also this, like, Iran has still not, as far as I know, maybe I'm wrong because I haven't kept up with too much today, but as far as I know, the Strait of Hormuz is still open. So trades are still ongoing, thankfully. But if they close that, that's also going to be incredibly devastating for world economics. But I think that's one of the reasons China is so involved, because even more so than Russia, because China has deals with Iran about the railway, about like a lot of things, a lot of infrastructure. China has poured money into Iran for that. And I don't think they're going to let that shit just get destroyed. China's put out really cryptic messages as well. Xi was a man of few words. He put out a statement. I don't know if you saw that just said Israel must stop. That was one of their first statements.
Mhm.
So he's a man of a few words, and there's been reports that China has been involved in helping Iran right now. Not
Well, I'm sure China's kind of like
yes. I mean, wouldn't
Um,
you be if you were China? I would be. I'd be like, it is time.
Yeah.
We must go eat now.
Well,
Wait,
the
I
funny
sounded
thing about
Russian.
it is I don't think Russia is going to get involved like people think, because
Well, Russia has
know
a war going on.
exactly. Well, that's part of it. It's like, despite the fact that China and Russia are in a bit of a coalition together, they hate each other
because they have very different value systems.
Mhm.
Russell Hall for Chiefs says supposedly they've started blocking Hormuz. Okay, well, there you go. Breaking news by Russell Hall. Thank you. Well, that sucks. that sucks. Russell also for $2 says Israel won't allow negotiations. It's why we're here.
Yeah.
They're not going to show up definitely on Friday, I would assume. But I think Iran still has to walk the path up because, okay, right now, at the very least, right now, in the eyes of the world, maybe not the West, because the West has a hard line stance towards Israel. Israel's our ally. Israel has the right to defend itself. Whatever. That's like a parrot thing that they keep parroting, which makes no sense because they're in this specific situation are the aggressors. So the idea that they're pre-defending themselves is like a bully going around a freaking playground pushing people around and then being like, well, he was going to push me first, so I pushed him.
I don't think it's pre-defense. I think this is retaliation for October the 7th, like I said earlier.
But that's their war with Hamas, and it,
yeah, but
if
Iran has been backing Hamas for ages. This isn't new.
Yeah, but like backing somebody is very different than bombing their home. Like, it's very different than.
Okay, I agree with you, but it's the same idea. The reason why parts of the Middle East doesn't like the United States because we provide material support to Israel. It's the same idea.
It is
exactly the same idea.
I agree. But I like having said that though, I just don't think. Yes, I don't think Israel will allow. I just don't think Israel will allow peace at this point. They want what they want, and the part of the reason for that is because of the very Zionist control right now that it's under. They really do believe they're the chosen people. That's fucked up. Bird up. Thank you for the 5. There are certainly religious right-wingers in government, but the moral majority of the Reagan era is no longer a thing.
That's what I'm talking about.
For years.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
I agree with you, Bird up. Thank you again. Thank you, Russell, for the $5. Says for him to throw the Secretary of Defense under the bus like that, Tulsi Gabbard, I don't think I've ever seen that before. Even Biden wouldn't have done that. Well, Biden would have forgotten their name.
Yeah, so. Biden would have forgotten who his Secretary of Defense is. This isn't a defense, okay? Just letting you guys know, this is not a defense of what Trump said. It was a very Trump thing to say, though.
Look, Trump said this other thing the other day that I was like, look, Trump can be really retarded sometimes. Like, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
like this. Like, I was like, what the hell did he just say? Like, he's such a boomer sometimes. Like this clip right here. This is when he was mad at Tucker before he called to apologize. So he was mad. Keep in mind.
Criticizing you, saying that you're complicit in the war.
I don't know what Tucker Carlson is saying. Let him go get a television network and say
no, yeah.
Before your
Again, that's a very Trump thing to say.
It's a Trump thing to say, but it's also a retarded thing to say because, like, Trump being him, like, he's literally been calling, the mainstream media fake news and the fact that media lies for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden he's in a fight with Tucker and it's like, go get a TV network so people actually listen to you. Bro, you went on Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson. That's why you got elected, so that people can actually hear you because nobody's watching TV anymore. That's the point.
Well, it's okay. I'm not gonna say it's that pettiness of Trump, but it's like the whole thing is Trump is really big on loyalty, So when he feels like it's like, remember the shit that he said about Ted Cruz during, when It's the same thing. He will
It's
talk
over
shit.
now.
Yeah,
He's friends with them again.
he'll talk shit about them when he views them as being opposition. But as soon as that, they've kind of like made peace. Oh yeah, I love Tucker. Tucker's great. He's always been a good dude. It's the same shit. Okay?
Yeah, he called me and kissed
Tucker's
the ring.
needed.
So we're good now. It's fine.
The shit that Bill Maher, he had a really interesting segment where he went to go meet Trump, and he's like, the Trump
The
that I
dinner?
met. Yeah, did you hear about that? Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
and he's
Yeah.
talking about his experience. He's like, this is not the Trump that I know on social media. And
Yeah.
it's like, because it's Trump on
He's
social
saying he's
media.
a real guy and like,
Yeah.
very funny and lighthearted. Did you see what happened after that? Which was, I find kind of hilarious, but also really fucking stupid. And it made me kind of lose respect for him. But did you see the Larry David op-ed that he did about that?
No.
So he wrote an article, like an op-ed about Maher's dinner with Trump.
Mhm.
And he titled it "My Dinner with Hitler," like it kind of like an entendre on like My Dinner with Andre, but it's like My Dinner with Hitler.
Yeah.
And so Bill Maher kind of did a segment on it and like kind of replied back to Larry David about this thing, but it just really made me. I mean, because I love Larry David, but I was like, oh man, I can't believe he's also falling for this shit. I love Larry David because I love Seinfeld and I love Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I've always
I can't
thought that
stand Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Really, I freaking love that show, and I think so to me it's a little bit surprising because he was always somebody that was able to make fun of himself, even MAGA, right? Like, and he was good at it. Like he was good at making fun of both Israel and Palestinian issues. Like one of the greatest episodes about that is the Palestinian chicken episode.
Palestinian chicken. Yeah, that's like the one episode I actually thought was really funny.
It's great. It's
It is
fantastic.
actually
And they
funny.
wanted to cancel him over that episode. And he had the one about Iran and the fatwa, like the whole season about having a fatwa on him. He's always had a really intelligent point of view when it comes to these things. And then I was like, oh man, like TDS got you? Like that is so crazy to me that TDS got him.
TDS got a lot of people.
Yeah, it was sad. But now I'm like, oh man, maybe all these people were right. Because I'm like, fucking hell, we're on a brink of World War III right now. Oh hell.
Well, and again, you can't blame Trump for that, right? You can certainly blame Israel. You can blame Trump if he basically goes lockstep with them. That's something you could definitely criticize. But this war is not Trump's war. This is not his fault.
At least not yet. Unless it comes out.
And like I said, it ultimately a declaration of war has to come from Congress.
But also, like, if it comes out that he really did lull them into a sense of false security so that Israel can do this, then it is his fault. Like,
then you could definitely blame him for that. Certainly.
That's kind of fucked up. Like, if he did do that. Now, I don't think he did, but if he did, that would
I think a lot of things with Trump, you do have to read between the lines sometimes.
I also think that he really
a lot
should
with a
have
grain of salt.
deal. Like if he had signed the other deal, we wouldn't be here now because they would already have a peace deal in place with regards to the nuclear power. And then if Iran, broke that deal, then we could have had a conversation. But so far, I mean, things wouldn't be here now if he had only just signed the other one. Russell Hall for 2 says the only thing that Iran had was a red herring, and I agree with you. Iran's full of shit most of the time. They're always full of shit. Russell Hall for 2 also said there's a lot of juice in Iran.
I guess he's referring to oil.
I do like juice. What's your favorite kind of juice there?
Like
Comix.
Actual juice?
Yeah, like fruit juice.
Fruit juice? Oh God. It'd be boring to say orange juice. Actually, no, lemonade. I really like lemonade.
Oh, lemonade is good.
Yeah.
Like peach juice or mango. I like mango juice. Mango juice is yummy. Cranberry always goes good with vodka, though. I don't know.
Vodka is not a juice.
I know. The fun juice. Oh, no Jews. There's
also a lot of Jews in Iran. Okay.
Oh my God. You could just say Jews.
Jews, yeah.
You don't have to make this complicated. I thought you meant like oil. Like I thought you were talking
he was talking about oil as well.
Why is there is a lot of Jews in Iran. That's true. Why'd you dump this zit Thank you for the 2. Says return of the king of Iran, Pahlavi. Oh God, I seriously hope not. That is definitely something that I don't like. I don't like the dissidents. I don't like that whole movement of wanting to bring back the 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 prince and blah blah blah. I'm just not with that movement. I have family who are, which makes things very difficult because I just don't believe in. I don't think the monarchy was good either. I think they were both bad. It was all bad, and
Mhm.
just replacing with something worse or just as bad is just a different version of
Yeah.
it. So I just
It
and
really
I
is
think usually that
different,
happens with
same
regime
shit, different
war.
day or something, kind of
Exactly,
situation.
and
Yeah.
that usually happens with the regime war as well. Like, like if you listen to the Ted Cruz interview, like he starts and like Tucker's like, well, why do you want to do it? And he's like, well, we can replace them with people who like us instead of people who hate
Well, yeah.
us.
How'd that work for Iraq?
Exactly. It's like, and
It's like, did we
sometimes
not learn our lesson with regime change in Iraq yet? I mean,
what about Libya? I mean, it hasn't worked anywhere. Look at
Yeah.
Syria. Syria's
well, I
literally
mean,
run by
okay.
Al Qaeda now.
I don't think we really did a actual regime change other than kill the dude, right?
Yeah.
Other than kill Gaddafi, we
Yes.
technically didn't do a regime change. We just killed the dude and left the power vacuum, and obviously things went to shit afterwards.
But they were doing regime change stuff before that. I mean, and it was so funny because Tucker even brought up Venezuela, and then they're like, "Oh, we've been trying to regime change over there for a while. We haven't been able to kill that guy, but
Never
we've been
goes well.
trying for a while." And it's like, yeah, you guys try that a lot. It's like a thing that they do. But I personally
It
don't
goes
like
back
this.
to the U.S. global hegemony is kind of the issue. And a lot of it too is that a lot of the reason why this shit's happening now is because before when we had the Soviet Union, we kept them in check. They kept
Yeah.
us in check. And
Yeah.
after their fall, we've been on a quest to find the next boogeyman, right?
You have, and now it's Iran again. Because I mean, the Muslim
Well, it's
extremists, right?
technically it's been the Middle East since the
It's
90s.
been a while. Yeah. Yeah.
Since the 90s, since the first Gulf War. So it's
It's been a while, and this is also upsetting, especially when it comes to this, right? Like the return of the king for Iran. See, the situation with Iran is really complicated when it
Yeah.
comes to people, right? Because so here you have like the people of Iran are kind of divided. You have a big sect of people who actually do like the government. They
Mhm.
are religious people that like the government. That's just it's their people. Then you have a
Well-
smaller sect that they kind of would like to wish that they're the silent majority, but it's not quite as major as you'd like to believe.
Mhm.
I think the majority are still very religious. I think they're the minority. They're the silent minority. And that,
Well, they're
that is
staying
not
silent
the
because they
same.
don't want to get killed.
Exactly. But it's a minority. I don't think it's a majority. I don't
No,
think
I
it's
don't. I don't
people
think it's a
who are-
majority either. Because
Yeah.
it's like I said, previously. It's like this is a part of the world that freedom is not going to work there. Okay,
The-
freedom and
the way that
democracy
you think.
is not in the DNA of the Middle East.
Right. Specifically not for certain people, right?
Yeah.
Now, because of that, in Iran specifically, and because a lot of us left, like,
Mhm.
because of the wars, like people like me, myself, my family, a lot of my family left, but some of them remained, including my dad, who I'm kind of really glad he's passed away now. I know that sounds really weird to say, but I'm kind of glad that he's not there and dealing with this
To
now because
see,
he was
yeah.
in Tehran. And this is
Right.
just devastating for a lot of Iranian people. Because no matter how much you hate the government, you don't want to see your home country burn, which is
Yeah,
what's
right.
happening right now. Like
Mhm.
like no matter how much, like even if you guys like America, right? You guys hate your government. Let's say like it wasn't Trump, it was Biden. You'd still don't want to see your home country burn. If somebody was fucking bombing you, you would be pissed, right? Like, so a lot of people are like that now. I think they're gonna be more like that. So like the biggest big conversation around right now, like when I talk about this to other Persian people, like including my family or friends or like
Mhm.
whatever, or acquaintances, or just hearing people talk, is that it sucks. Like they're like, oh, fuck those people that Israel killed. Like the scientists, the government officials, and all the very very precision strikes of the government people, right? They're like, fuck those people, because everybody hates those people, and rightly so, right? Like they're like, these people were corrupt, they're terrible people, whatever, fuck them. But when it comes to like them seeing actually Tehran burn and starting to see civilians, become without homes and stuff, then it starts to hit a little closer, and they're like, oh, okay, maybe we don't want this, because how long is this going to go on for? And they've already killed like a whole bunch of the Islamics. So, like, how long is this going to go on for? Actually, like, we're starting to kind of get nervous. Like, oh no, maybe this isn't what we wanted. Because you know how they say, like, be careful what you wish for.
Right.
So a lot of these people are like have been wishing for Israel or U.S. to come in and bomb and get rid of these mullahs and whatever, so that they can be a regime change. But then once they start to actually see what happens, then they're like, oh shit. And then the last part of that is Iran has always been divided, even back in the day, even like in the 70s, 80s. And that's why we had like this such a huge regime change. And I think one of the things that brought them together, though, especially with the Iraq war during the 80s, was that when like at the beginning, they were like, whatever, like Saddam's going to do whatever they got to do. They hate each other. They're going to bomb each other, whatever. Right. But then Saddam started to bomb like actual Iranian sites like Persepolis and Shiraz, right? Like he started to hit like Persian historical places. And that's when the Iranians went nuts. Like they were like, oh, this is no, this has got to stop. So I think once Israel starts doing stuff like that, that's when the Iranian people will actually unite. And it won't be so much like, oh, we're going to go and, topple the government. It will be like we are signing up to go to war. We're talking about foot war now to march into Israel. We're ready when we are ready. Like I do believe
the
that. Stuff
that's interesting about it is that when Iraq and Iran were fighting, and I'm trying to remember if this was like 70s or 80s, there was a reason why 80s. Saddam couldn't take Iran, and it goes back to is that Iran would just throw bodies at it. I mean, because it's like you basically had like a line of people with guns, and then a bunch of people who did not, and the people who got shot and killed that had guns, you'd go and pick their gun up, and and Iran would just send waves and waves of people, and that was part of the reason why Iraq could not beat Iran in the war.
I was literally born during the Iraq war. I was born in 85. I still remember the war sirens. Like to this day, I still remember. There was a point in time when one of the war sirens broke. One of the bombings broke like the window above my crib. My mom had to take me out, and then the next day we looked at the crib, and all the glass in the window was there. So I could have died there, but I didn't, thankfully, because they took me out. So there's definitely like this trauma that gets stuck in. It's that kind of trauma stays with you for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it does. I mean, it's like that's one of the things that as an American, I know that I am very blessed to have never experienced a war in my life.
It's something that it really
like
fucks you up
on my soil. Obviously, there's been wars that have happened during my lifetime.
Sure, yeah,
but I'm talking about on American soil, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's we've had stuff like 9/11 happen, but there's no actual, minus the Civil and the Revolutionary War, there has been no actual war that's taken place on American soil.
You're lucky, man.
Very,
it's
very,
something
very lucky.
It's something I don't wish on anybody, including Israel, including people I may not like. I don't want this to happen. I don't like seeing Tel Aviv burn. Like this is fucked up. Like Tel Aviv is a beautiful city. It's so crazy that this is happening now. Like, I mean, everyone's gonna suffer. War at the end of the day, it's just the innocents that suffer, man. That's it. All the other people will make money. You know the military industrial complex.
Yeah.
It's all about money and power, and everybody else gets fucked.
Yeah. And the funny thing about it is just the level of complexities. The whole Israel-Palestine thing is so fucking complex. And like I said, that predates both those countries. I mean, I guess technically Palestine isn't a country, but
it should be.
A lot of it goes back to the whole thing I said about Kurdistan. It
couldn't even come up with a two-state solution. How many years has it been? Just make them Israelis and fucking call it a day. Can't we just
that's funny because that's like been one of my thing for years. Is just when they basically invaded the West Bank. It was back in I'm trying to remember, was it 70s, 80s, whenever the shit happened. It's like they just said, okay, you're all Israelis now. That's it. Okay. And then we just become a unified people. I don't know if that's actually, maybe it's a pipe dream. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know what the solution is, because the issue is that you have that deep-seated animosity that has existed for a very fucking long time. Okay. This isn't like a current year thing. This feud between the Israelis and the Palestinians literally dates back 1,000 years.
But that's why it's so insane to me when people are like, "Oh, this all started with October 7th," and I'm like, "No, it did not start with
it's
October 7th.
It's the latest iteration of the same shit that's been going on for 1,000 years.
That's bullshit to me. Yeah. When people are like, "Oh, this all started with October 7th," I'm like, "Come on! Like, have you guys been paying attention? This is not something that started like 4 years ago.
No,
this is just a very recent escalation of it, and there's reasons why it escalated that drastically, that fast, with all the people involved.
It's like the whole thing with the Serbs, like I mentioned earlier, with the whole thing with the Serbs back in the 90s, when everyone started fucking killing each other. The whole thing with the ethnic cleansing in the 90s. It's that you've had like this, long, deep-seated hatred, and the only thing that kept it in check was the Soviet Union. And when the Soviet Union went away, suddenly they're like, we're gonna go kill each other again.
You know what it is, though? It's like at some point it has to come to an end, right? Like somebody has
Sadly,
to
I think
create
how it ends is one side being exterminated. That's the only way I see it ending in reality.
I really hope that's not the case, but I think you're right.
I hope not either, but I think that's
sadly,
what we hope for, then there's reality.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think it is going to be the Palestinians, because I mean they're literally like ethnically cleansing these people, and nobody's doing anything about it. I feel like there's a lot of time where
here's the problem with that, is that if the shoe is on the other foot, the Palestinians would be doing the exact same thing. That the thing is, there is no innocent party in this.
I don't know about that, man. They're the ones that opened their life to those people when Israel was got created. They opened their doors, they welcomed them in. Those people never left, and they decided that, you know what, this is our house now. So I don't think that. I think that like you said, it's complicated, but
it is.
They weren't
okay.
Like that.
And again, hashtag not all, obviously, but sure. Hamas. Okay, if Hamas got their way, they would ethnically cleanse Israel.
Yes, because
they
they're
absolutely
the extremists.
Would.
Yes, because they're the extremists, and this is why extremists should not be in power ever. Yeah. We can agree on.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Hall, thank you for the $5. Before this is over, I expect we're going to see how the U.S. aircraft carrier holds up against a hypersonic missile barrage. My guess is not well.
Not well.
Wow.
Well,
really?
Okay, this is something I didn't realize. So apparently, we sent. I guess it was an aircraft carrier, like you said, but it is an aircraft carrier that's supposed to be decommissioned like next year. So, is this another Lusitania or a U.S. Liberty incident that we're going to be looking at?
Oh no!
Yeah.
I feel like that's coming. That's for sure. I mean, a lot of people
because all it takes is one excuse, and bam, we're in there like lightning.
Well, the crazy part,
and we basically, if we send over this retired or soon to be retired aircraft carrier and it gets attacked and sunk, hey, the U.S. got their excuse to go and invade.
A lot of people are saying the Nimitz. I think it's going to be the Nimitz too. I don't know, but the interesting part to me though is that a lot of people think that there's going to be a false flag.
Yeah.
By Israel to
U.S. Liberty.
to basically like drag the U.S. in. But I find like we're sitting here kind of laughing about it, and it's kind of funny, haha, because it hasn't happened yet, right?
Right.
But if it does happen, we're talking about something really fucked up here, Comix.
Well, I'm gonna be like,
what are these allies?
It, man.
You heard it here first, folks. But then we're like, no, but seriously, we're sitting here going like, what kind of allies are these? They're stealing your nuclear technology and then making their own and then just projecting their own weird shit on everybody else. Then they're gonna do this type of shit. Their president is literally threatening your president's life. Like he's like, oh yeah, Iran was gonna kill them. They're gonna kill them. Like, and I was just like, oh, are you going to do that? Is that what you're planning on doing? Because that sounds like what you're planning on doing. It sounds like projection. which is what they do all the time. So I'm like,
Yeah. Well, I think the issue
what's happening?
is like I said, there's been a pattern of behavior when it comes to, I don't think it needs to be a false flag. It could be the let it happen, right? Because there's, if you know something's going to happen and you do nothing about it. I mean, this is like the whole thing with the Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor. Did we know about it? Did we not know about it? Did we know about it and we let it happen so we can go enter the war?
That's also the conversation about the U.S. right now.
Mm-hmm.
Did they know? Didn't they know? Did they know and not say anything? They let it just happen. I mean, it's all there's so many questions. I think we'll all find out the answers though in the coming days. Russell
Maybe.
Hall for $5. Hopefully it won't be another 20 years.
Right.
Before this is over, I expect we're going to see the U.S. Oh, we got that
Yeah,
one.
we already
Thank
got
you,
that one.
Russell. Thank you. And then Russell again. There's a large Jewish population in Iran. Thank you for spelling it out, Russell.
That I did not know.
There is, yeah. There's also a Christian population there. Not
Well, I know
as large.
there's a Christian population.
Yeah, not as large, but there's definitely Christians there as well. This was the other clip that I wanted to watch because I hadn't actually seen this one. So let's watch this one together. Supposedly part of the Tucker Carlson interview with Ted Cruz. So here we go.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel, it doesn't say the government of it, says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my. You pull out.
I love freaking Tucker Carlson's face and expression.
Yeah, where is that?
He's always like,
well, because like Israel didn't exist as a nation. I mean, Judea existed.
Yeah.
But Israel is a modern nation. It's not, and going back to, the whole thing with everything being complicated is that, yeah, I mean, technically Judea was there at what, and then it changed hands. There's the whole thing with the Romans and a bunch of other stuff that happened. And yeah, but to say Israel, no.
It's like, so does it say the Israeli government? Come on, it doesn't say the government.
No, I don't even think it says Israel, unless it was a modern translation change.
Yeah, maybe a modern interpretation of it or something.
And like I said, not an expert, just my understanding, it was Judea, not Israel.
Let's see what else they say.
You pull out the phone and use the.
It's in Genesis, but so
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my. You pull out the phone and use the.
It's in Genesis, but so you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it. And you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's for theology. I'm confused.
Oh no!
What does that even mean,
Tucker?
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two,
hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
Yeah,
but hold on, define Israel.
Okay. So this is the actual quote. It says Genesis 12:3, a significant verse in the Bible. Part of God's covenant with Abraham states, "I bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. In all your families of the earth shall be blessed." Okay, that
doesn't say anything about Judea or Israel.
Or Israel, yeah. The verse highlights God's promise
about the covenant
to bless
of
Abraham and through him the nations of the world. Okay, that's basically how it's interpreted.
The nations of the world?
It says this verse highlights God's promise to bless Abraham and through him all the nations of the world.
But the world also includes Iran. I'm confused. It also includes China and Russia and everybody else.
Okay, and it goes back to what the whole God's chosen people thing, right? And
oh my God,
like I said, even that is complicated.
Abraham and his descendants, says Douglas.
Abraham, yes.
So
Oh,
because we're not, related to Abraham, we're fucked. Fuck you.
well, I mean, okay, so you have
We're
the big three.
definitely not chosen.
You have the big three Abrahamic religions: Judaism, Christianity,
Islam.
and Islam. Okay,
Yeah.
those are all descended from Abraham.
Yeah. I have a problem with Abraham. I hate that. I hate that story so much. When I was in Iran, obviously we were taught religion in school. And yes, I said death to America many, many times. It was part of, life.
You kind of had to, right?
Yeah, I kind of had to.
It's like being in North Korea and not saying death to America will probably get you gulagged.
But the funny part is, like when I was doing it, we're gonna go back to that clip in a second. When I was doing it, I was always like, in my head, I was always like, I don't hate America. I love America. I love America. Because my mom and my dad had introduced me to American culture, so I knew about American culture, and I was always like, oh, I love this world that's free and cool, and you can sing and dance and do all these things I can't do. And where I'm from, and the place I'm from seems like it kind of sucks. So, me as a kid, I was kind of like, I kind of want to go there. That sounds like a much nicer place. And I think that's why America was winning that kind of like the Cold War of the culture war, like, bringing their culture to people and just kind of winning people over in that sense. That's kind of changed now with all the other different things.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that play into it. And I'm trying to remember the term. Damn it, I'm.
You're blanking like me. I was blanking.
Yeah, well, no, it's something I haven't thought about in a while. I want to say postmodern capitalism. That's not what it is. Neoliberalism. Sorry, that's the word I'm looking for. Neoliberalism. A lot of the stuff that we're experiencing now is neoliberalism.
Yeah, it is. I agree with you.
And that's the issue. It's like, we've done a lot of shitty shit throughout the years, but it's gotten worse under the whole neoliberal regime that we're basically.
It got real bad.
Yeah,
but at least it's gotten a little bit under control. Hopefully, it won't get so crazy out there, man. You guys need to keep the neoliberalism under check still.
This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel. Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
So is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
They're the descendants
God's
of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
And by the way, it's not run by
not.
Benjamin Netanyahu as a dictator. It's a
I'm
democratic
not saying
country
he's a
that
dictator.
elected.
He's the prime minister.
Right.
What?
But just like, America is the country run by Donald Trump. No, actually, the American people elected Donald Trump. The same principle
This is
there.
silly. I'm talking about the political entity of modern Israel.
Yes, and that is
believe
Israel.
That's what God was talking about in
Yes.
Genesis.
I do, but
that country's existed since when?
For thousands of years. Now, there was a time when it didn't exist, and then it was recreated just over 70 years ago.
I'm saying, I think most people understand that line in Genesis to refer to the Jewish people, God's chosen people.
That's not what it says.
Okay, it's Israel.
Literally
but
what
you
it
don't even
says.
know where in the Bible it is.
Is that not what it said? Because that's what
Literally
I understood.
what it says. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, I mean, the funny thing about it, it's like, just
That's why I was like, well,
most
so am
modern
I not
nations
involved?
did not exist during that time period. I mean, it's
Oh man.
what he's saying is
silly.
fucking retarded. It's like, I hate Beto O'Rourke. I'm not a fan of Ted Cruz either.
He's such an idiot. It's like it can't help it. Oh, it's over.
There's things that I'll take Cruz over Beto any day, but fucking A, dude, seriously.
Wait, who's this other dude that you're talking about?
Beto
I don't know.
O'Rourke, he ran against Ted Cruz twice and got his ass beat.
Oh.
Yeah, he's just
Was he couldn't have possibly been more retarded than Ted Cruz, but I
Yeah.
guess maybe he was. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So back in the 90s, there was a hacker group called the Cult of the Dead Cow. And Beto O'Rourke was actually, or I should say Robert O'Rourke was a part of the Cult of the Dead Cow back then. Yeah, he
That's weird.
Yeah, he is special. You have to go look up some of the clips of him. I want to say that like during one of the debates, he came in on a skateboard or something like that, trying to be hip. It's like, dude.
Oh my god, hold on! I need to look this guy up. His name is Beta.
He's Beto. Well, yeah, we call him Beta O'Rourke.
Beta
But it's Beto. And the reason why he calls himself Beto is that he was trying to appeal.
This guy.
Yes,
okay,
the
yeah, I
Hispanic
know this
population.
guy. I forgot. I'm not good at names.
Yeah, he's very anti-gun.
Oh, is he?
Oh, big time.
Oh, that's not gonna win you a thing in Florida or Texas or wherever
Texas,
the guy's
no.
from. Texas.
He's Texas.
Oh my god.
Yep.
This guy. Yeah, I remember this guy.
Yep. He's a fucking dumbass. That's not even his real name. I just love how everyone calls him, or he calls himself Beto O'Rourke. But yeah, Beta.
Beta. I like that. DL, thanks for the 99. Nina, this sounds like a good topic for Michelle. You know what? That is true. This is because she's Dr. Michelle. She's got her doctorate in theology. So
really?
She'll be able to explain the Genesis line and what they meant and things like that much better than probably most people. She probably understands it much better than Ted Cruz.
Probably.
DL, I think I understood it better than Ted Cruz, and I'm not a Christian. DL, thank you again for the $1.99. Let's switch topics a little bit because we've talked a lot about this war and this bullshit, and we have a little bit of time left. So let's talk about some other stuff, just to get a little bit lighthearted because I hate just thinking about doom and gloom all the time. You know that. So let's switch gear to, for example, this guy who, I didn't know that you could do this with screwdrivers. Did you? This dude right here.
Am I surprised? No. It has a point.
I'm not. I guess, yeah. Usually people do this with knives, though.
Yes, but you can do it with a screwdriver. That's his talent, man. That's talent.
That is definitely a talent. Also, he's so buff. Like he looks like he's like from Street Fighter.
No, I'm assuming he's military based off the way he's dressed and some of the stuff that's around him.
He does look military, yeah.
Yeah.
What else is going on in your end of the spheres, like pop culture stuff? Oh, I did see this, which I thought was funny today. No, this isn't pop culture, but I guess kind of. Is this pop culture? I don't know. The Diddy trial?
Is this pop culture?
I don't even know. Is this technically pop culture now? Because he was a very popular
I would
musician.
say this is definitely pop culture. Yeah.
So you know what? Before the war
as much
started,
as they ever heard Johnny Depp thing was pop culture too.
Right. Before the war started, I was obsessed with this trial. Like I was like reading everything, like all the transcripts. Now I could care less. Like I'm just like, I don't care about Diddy. I just hope he goes to jail. But then I looked it up today and I saw this and I thought it was kind of funny because it says Sean Diddy Combs trial recap, court adjourned until Friday after juror calls out sick. Apparently they had vertigo, so they called in sick. And I was like, it's probably because they got sick and tired of watching all these Diddyos.
Accurate.
That's a good one. Videos of freak offs. So I would get freaking sick and get vertigo too. I'd be like, oh, like I can't see another Diddy banging some chick with other dudes. Like that's gross. Like what's going on in that trial is very gross. So I can understand why the juror was like, I need a moment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw up.
Oh,
have you been keeping track of the trial at all?
No, not really. I did read some articles a while back and I was just like, wow, this is really fucked up.
Yeah, it is. It's very fucked up.
Yeah.
I hope they put him away for a long, long time. Do you know what else is fucked up? I did see this. This was I guess this is also pop culture news. What's his name? Tyler Perry got accused of sexual harassment by this dude who I guess outed him for being a gay. But I mean, I was reading some of these messages and I was like, this doesn't sound like sexual harassment-y at all. So I was like trying to find the sexual harassment in it. But also
Well,
I like read
it's
about
like
it.
it's consent till I say it's no longer consent.
Yeah, because I read about it and I was like, wait, I don't understand, because this guy seemed like he's going along with it and he was kind of fine with everything, and then all of a sudden he wasn't. Like, and it's been going on for years. So it just, I don't know. It feels
I
kind of weird.
honestly, this is the first I've heard of it.
Oh, is the first you've heard of it?
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
It's weird. Some guy like, hey, let me see.
Well, because a lot of it too, it's like I've been saying this shit for years. We live in a post-truth world. I don't know what the fuck to believe anymore. I really don't.
It's so difficult. It really is.
It's like how much of this is bullshit? How much of it? Okay, was he on the down low the entire time and he's basically been hooking up with dudes, or
he's apparently married right now?
It hasn't stopped people before.
No,
but I don't know.
Did you ever see? You've seen the Boondocks, right?
Like the movie?
Cartoon? No, the cartoon.
The Boondocks. I see Boondocks. Like, yeah, I love the Boondocks.
Do you remember that episode about Tyler Perry and how he was really good and he was bullying everybody?
It's been a while. The one
episode about that.
The one I remember is like the whole thing with the rappers being on the down low and then making out.
Most of them were gay.
And Riley's like, they're busting slob.
Dude, you should go look up that episode of Tyler Perry on the Boondocks. It's really freaking funny. But okay, so this is the story about this guy. So this is the guy. So he's like, says Tyler Perry is sued for $260 million after an alleged sexual assault by the Oval actor Derek Dixon. Dixon filed a lawsuit against Perry.
Sounds like a porn name.
I know it does, doesn't it?
Derek Dixon in
he also
All
looks
Studs
like a
3.
porn star. Like he's like, hey, I'm Derek Dixon. Like, I don't know. He looks very porn starry.
Yeah, he does.
It says Dixon filed a lawsuit against Perry, and in the docs, he claimed he and the director met at an event back in 2019. And in Derek's words, Tyler picked him out of the crowd and asked him for his phone number, suggesting that he might have a role for him. Derek says Tyler gave him a small role in 2 episodes of a show called Ruthless. Then in January 2020, Derek says Tyler invited him to his Atlanta home and he accepted, hoping to build a friendship that would lead to more acting gigs. But according to the suit, a while there, Derek drank too much and ended up sleeping in a guest room. Derek claims Tyler got into the bed with him and started touching his thighs. And although he rejected the advances that night, he claims Tyler remained interested. Shortly thereafter, but he didn't like put it up his butt or anything. So far, it's just been like, some flirting, maybe some nightly touches. And then he was like, no, I'm not interested. And the guy was like, all right. Shortly thereafter, Derek says he landed the role of Dale in the Oval, but he claims that it was around this time that Tyler also started firing off sexually suggestive texts, including asking what Drew's sexual preferences were and telling him he had sex with men. Now, again, I was reading some of the texts and they did not seem sexual harassy at all. Like, it just seems like 2 friends talking. And I was like, where's the sexual harassment?
Well, the funny thing about it is it just reminds me of that meme. It's like, I have relationships with women, but sex with men. That makes you gay, buddy.
Oh, I have that. Here it is.
I am not gay. I have relationships with women. Sex with men.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
The guts theme. Oh, I haven't
everything
seen that in
good.
years. It's fucking hilarious.
They claim you on that now. That's why I can't play the full thing, or else I
Yeah.
usually do. But they usually claim the thing. Where's my other one? Oh, here we go.
Why are you gay?
Why are you gay? He says Tyler once again invited him to Atlanta later in 2020 and started sexually charged conversation, like asking him if he likes it rough in bed, and then grabbed Derek by the throat while saying, "Look how excited you just got." He says he pushed Tyler away, and that was the end of the alleged incident. The lawsuit includes years of text messages allegedly sent between both men. Most of the ones Tyler allegedly sent are sexually charged. For instance, one reads, "No straight man would be going on walks with you or cooking dinner for you unless they wanted to fuck you. I would fuck you." Dixon is suing for quid pro quo and workplace sexual harassment and sexual assault and battery. Wow. And he's seeking $260 million in damages. I don't know. That sounds kind of fucked. I don't know if years of text messages.
The only thing that sounds really kind of weird is that when he basically got drunk, stayed at his place, and he basically went into his bedroom.
Yeah,
that's the most sus thing about this. It's like
that's the most sus
weird.
thing about this. But then, okay, so that happened to you, and then yet, like, you decided to continue this friendship.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just feel like, okay, thanks, but
it sounds like the typical stuff that takes place in Hollywood to me.
Yeah,
it sounds like the Harvey Weinstein shit, because it's like a lot of that shit was consensual. Definitely a scumbag for sure.
Agreed.
But the thing is, if you are in a situation like that and you feel uncomfortable, just fucking leave, man. I don't care.
Wait, how old is this guy? I want to make sure he's not like like a Cassie where he's been like groomed or something like that. Let's see.
No idea.
What's his name? Derek Dixon. God, it's gonna be a porno name, isn't it?
It sounds like a porno name.
I'm gonna freaking put this on there. How old is? Let's see. How old is Derek Dixon? Okay, we're not getting any answers from Google, I guess, because this guy's like a no name. But he does look old enough. I don't think he's like being groomed or anything. Because there's a difference, right? Like in Cassie's case, I feel like she was being groomed. So I don't know if, like, I do think she's a victim. So when like
who are you talking about?
Cassie Ventura.
I don't know anything about her.
That's the girl that is in the Diddy trial. Like she's
okay.
she's the main witness for the Diddy trial. That basically the girl that got beaten the shit out of his ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
That one.
It doesn't say. I looked him up on IMDb. There's really not any information on him. It's not even a picture.
I just looked him up too. So I mean, hopefully he's not like one of those grooming, like, people that got into the Hollywood game and just got groomed and passed around, and
who fucking knows.
Now here we are. But I don't know. When I first heard about this, my first thought was like the Boondocks episode. I was like it was just like such an open secret that he was so gay. Like everyone was like, "Dude, you're so gay." I mean, he likes to dress up as women. It kind of was. It was all there.
Yeah,
like,
well, that's
it's all there.
Fair point. The whole Medea thing.
Yeah. Medea goes to court. this one's Medea goes to court. This one I saw. Now I love basketball. I've never been a fan of the WNBA. But I did see this. Did you see this with this girl? Do you know who Caitlin Clark is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so this girl.
My brain immediately turned off when you said WNBA.
I know. I mean, my brain usually turns off when it was at WNBA as well. So I should bring up this other clip as well, just so I can give you an idea. Hold on. We're going to start.
Is this the one where she's like walking and wearing a skirt or something like that? Or
no.
Okay.
I
saw.
Basically, Caitlin Clark is actually a very good player. Like she's like actually a good player. And then they kind of hate her for several reasons. One, that she's actually good. So she's got skills, and most bitches are catty bitches. So they're like, "Oh, you fucking bitch," because she beats them.
Mm-hmm.
And two, a lot of them are racist. So like, most of the black girls actually don't like her because she's white. Like literally, they just don't like her.
I think I vaguely remember something about
Now,
somebody hating on her last year. Maybe it's her. Maybe it's a different female basketball player. I just remember that there was like this white chick there everyone was hating on for some reason. That was in WNBA.
yeah, she's the one that everybody hates because they usually hate her because she's white, but they also hate her because she has skills. And this was funny. Where is it? Hold on. I tweeted it out and I was like, I mean, this is crazy. These bitches are nuts. So this went viral yesterday. I just found it. Where Caitlin Clark gets like body slammed by this one girl.
I mean, is that displacement?
So here she is. That's Caitlin Clark. She kind of gets fouled by this chick here, like going for the ball. Like she gets poked in the eye or something. And then watch this girl.
Oh, and Marina maybe.
She like
Damn.
body slammed her. Hold on.
Oh, that's crazy. And we lost Nina.
No, sorry, I had to cough.
Oh, okay.
I'm good. It's like, when you drink water and it goes down.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm dying. Okay, so anyways, this chick body slams her. Later, this is the girl. I guess they just don't like each other, whatever. Then later in that same game, I guess one of Caitlin Clark's people was like, F you, bitch. And then they do this. I guess that's the same girl that body slammed her in this basketball and hockey and tennis. But you know what?
Yeah,
women are actually good at tennis, though.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to actual sports, I think tennis, volleyball is probably peak women's sports, where stuff like basketball, football, just leave it to the guys, I guess. But my whole thing's I'm not in sports. It's like my whole joke is it's all sports ball to me.
Oh, you're one of those guys. That's
yes,
hilarious.
I'm one of those guys.
Oh, I love sports. That's so funny.
I can't stand it.
Roland, thank you for the $20. Roland the Wretched, thank you for the $20. Says, sorry I was out running, but going back to cruise, Abraham lived in the
It's pronounced
of the Chaldeans. I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
In Mesopotamia, southern Iraq. And the Bible verse is referring to the Israelites, not Israel.
Yes.
Okay, Israel. Yeah, Israelites. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ian, you played Stellar Blade without me. Gosh.
Yes, I did. I played Stellar Blade last night.
Ooh, was it good?
Yeah.
That's my next game. I feel like I'm gonna play.
It's a lot of fun. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you played Expedition 33?
I have. I haven't gotten too deeply into it because a lot of times where I play games, it's typically on stream because that's the only time I really have to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, is an impressive city. I highly recommend reading or watching some videos about the Sumerians because it really shows you, for an ancient civilization, how advanced these people really were. And it's like
really cool.
it's like the same thing with the Romans. When you take a look at this, a lot of the developments that came out of Sumeria, is a very impressive city. It's really interesting because like the idea of 12 hours in the day actually comes from Ur. Or not Ur, but Sumeria.
Sumeria. Yeah.
From Sumeria.
That one I knew.
Yeah.
Sumeria.
It's a very, very, very impressive ancient civilization. And I don't think it gets talked about as much as it probably should. And a lot of it's because we know so little about it. Obviously, a lot of stuff survived from Rome and Greece, where a lot of stuff from Mesopotamia didn't. And a lot of it had to do with the brutality of that area. And oddly enough, the Sumerians weren't as brutal as, let's say, the Assyrians were. The Assyrians were very brutal. And a lot of stuff got destroyed. And the other thing too, I would say, is look at the religions of Mesopotamia and how much of it is you can also find within Judaism. It's really interesting because there's a lot of stuff that is borrowed. There's a lot.
I definitely don't know enough about this topic, but
Yeah.
a
lot of the Old Testament, you could find similarities in Mesopotamia.
It's very cool. Thank you again for the $20. That's not cheap. Also, I definitely want
lots of flaying. Yeah, that is correct, Russell. There was a lot of flaying going on. There's I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah, I thought it said
playing.
I was like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Flaying, as in flaying people alive.
Oh,
yeah, there's like
God,
this one
there
guy.
was.
I can't remember what city he was sieging, but literally fucking piled up human skulls.
Oh,
Like,
God.
yeah, I mean they were
savage back
fucking
then.
savages now, man.
Yeah, they're crazy.
It's a little less, but it's if you really look at how savage humans can be, it's like it's been way fucking worse.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I live in Mexico. Okay, the Mayans were nuts.
Dude, the Mayans were bad, but like I said, what they did to people really does pale in comparison to what the Assyrians did.
I mean, a virgin sacrifice here and there. There was not that much.
A lot of what like specifically the Maya. A lot of their like human sacrifice typically was, the losing side.
Well, and also, but they also honored it. Like it wasn't like they weren't going to flay like the virgins or they were going to sacrifice. They actually really like it was like
it wasn't done out of sheer fucking brutality,
right?
Yeah, because a lot of it's like, you lost. We're gonna go play football now. Or we're gonna play baseball
with your head.
You're going to lose, and we're gonna kill you.
Yeah, and then they played football with their head. It's crazy. Man, humans are brutal. Russell Hall for 2 says this is exactly what the WNBA needs. Let them fight. You know what? You're right. I agree. Because at least it makes it somewhat interesting. They should just add like the UFC like rules for them. Like just let them fight it out. And then maybe if they score a couple baskets here and there, great. Otherwise, whatever. Last thing I'm going to show you, Ian, is this very interesting commercial that was made by, I guess, the Democrats made this. Did you see this? This is bad. I was like, what the fuck? Have you seen this one?
No, I haven't.
Oh, get ready, bro. This is great.
I had a really good time today.
Yeah, me too. I really like.
What are you doing? She's coming with us. What are you talking about? Who are you? I'm your Republican congressman. Now we're in charge. We're rounding up illegals.
She was born here. She's a citizen.
I don't care. She looks like one of them. But don't worry. When she's in prison in El Salvador, she'll have lots of company.
Oh my God. And it says the homegrowns are next. Donald Trump, April 14th, 2025. Did he say that? He didn't say that.
No.
He did not say that.
Unless he's talking about homegrown terrorists. No. That is, oh my God, that's retarded.
Dude,
This isn't new though. Okay. That the whole thing with them saying that they're going to deport American citizens has been said during his first term as president. Okay,
that's true. Yeah,
it's like my wife who has she's slightly touched with TDS, and she's half Hispanic, and her uncle, who is pure Hispanic, voted for Trump, and she would make jokes about him getting deported, or I don't know if it's necessarily jokes as much as snide remarks. It's like he's not going to be deported. Nobody legal is going to be fucking deported. This is retarded. It's all propaganda and misrepresentation.
I think it's happened by with a couple people, and it's very unfortunate.
No, it hasn't. I mean,
I heard this story. Tell me if it's wrong. I heard this story that there was this woman that got deported because she went to actually renew her visa. Like she was in the process of removing her visa. And they were like, oh, yeah, sorry, you're late. Like, you're too late in doing it. So now you're going to get deported. And she had literally got deported while her husband was there. So they took her away and everything. So I don't know. I feel like some people may have fallen by the wayside here and there, but not.
I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but a lot of the times I typically hear about these things, it turns out to be not the case. It's like I'm trying to remember it's not the Minnesota man, or it's the guy that they're saying was an American citizen, or he was from the state and got deported, and then you find out no, he was here illegally. But they're trying to say he was an American citizen, and it's no, that's not the case.
E. Clay says, I heard about a guy who was accidentally deported but returned shortly thereafter. I think there's that's what I'm saying. It happens
Maryland man. Thank you. Thank you, Hardy. Yeah, the Maryland man.
The Maryland man.
Did you hear about that?
No.
He was basically, I want to say Trinidad, maybe not. But I mean, he was married to a woman in Maryland, but he was here illegally. And they're trying to say that he was from Maryland. And there was, the left kept trying to spin it, saying, no, he's from Maryland. Even though it was proven that he was not, it was well, he lived there, so technically he's from Maryland. And so, yeah, the Vosh's take on it was fucking stupid. But this is the stupid games that they play, right? They're going to come for the Mexicans. It's not the case. So many Mexicans.
Well, they're saying now there's Iranian incels that are going to take over the U.S. So get ready there, Ian.
Well, okay, here's the reality. Because of the porous border is a very good possibility that terrorists could have come over.
Sure.
Now,
I can understand that.
But there's other things too. And a lot of people have gone in this country of all different nationalities. We've had a lot of Chinese nationals come over as well. Why is that? Good question. I don't know.
I think the interesting part about the illegals, though, is, yes, it's possible that terrorists have come through, but more elite, literal actual criminals have come through, and they've been literally raping women on subways in New York.
Yes.
So
yes, they have.
I feel maybe Iranian incel cells or whatever.
Iranian terrorist cells, because now you just make me sound like they're coming here to get laid. Iranian incels are coming to America to have sex with American women.
Oh no. Well, you know what? They probably are. But my point is, maybe go after the rapists, the subway rapists are probably a good place to start. I don't think you're going to have a problem if you're deporting subway rapists. I just think that, people are going to be.
I think at the end of the day, this is the issue that I think a lot of people don't understand is that if this was in reverse, where you had people going and flooding another country, they would have a problem with it too. That's the thing. I don't understand why people can't figure this out. They're like, oh no, it's fine. Let them come over. It's no, it's not, because no other country would let this shit happen. No. But the reality is, you have to ask, why are so many military age men coming into the United States? That is a very valid question. Why?
That's interesting.
And it's again, a lot are coming from South America, a lot of Chinese nationalists. There's probably also terrorists that have come over as well. I mean,
a lot of people coming over.
Yeah,
it's a
lot. It's a lot of people. It is a multi-headed problem when you let people come over unchecked, because you're right. Yeah. You got the criminals, you got the rapists, you got, the terrorists.
Well, they've already been doing things. It's go after them. They've literally been raping people. That subway in New York is not safe. I would never take it. Russell Hall for 5 says, a judge under Cyrus the Great Son accepted a bribe in a land dispute. He was skinned alive, and his son was made to sit in a chair made from his skin. Wow. Yeah. That's so hardcore.
Yeah.
That's
that is some
Game of Thrones shit, man.
Shit. That's some medieval shit right there. Actually, I think they would have done that in the Middle Ages. I mean, they did some pretty awful shit in the Middle Ages, but skinning somebody alive, man, that's pretty.
That's something else.
Yeah, that's something else.
something else. Oh God, that
Yeah.
makes me like get the heebies.
Yeah.
Ian, it's been really nice to talk to you tonight. You've made this show much more pleasant, even though it wasn't a pleasant topic. It was a terrible topic, and I hated talking about it. But I really like talking about it with you because you're an awesome person. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Before you go, do you want to plug your wares? Tell them where they can find you, what you got coming up next.
Sure. You can follow me on Twitter and YouTube at Comix Division. I stream every Monday and Thursday on my channel. Of course, you can find me on Friday Night Tights, and occasionally I release videos because I suck at creating content.
You can find all his links in the description, so make sure you go and follow him, Comix Division. And he does a really cool Monday night show as well. I think it's called Monday Night Madness.
Meltdown. Monday Night Meltdown. Yeah, Thursday Night Throwdown, Monday Night Meltdown.
That's good.
And Roland's right. We do movie night too. We have movie nights where we don't stream them on YouTube, but what we do is we use StreamYards and we set up a webinar, essentially is what it is, where people can go and watch a movie with us.
That's kind of cool. You're gonna have to teach me how to do that. I want to do that. I don't know how to do that, but you're gonna have to teach me. Okay.
Yeah, you can. All you have to do is set up a webinar within StreamYards.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into that. That's a cool idea. You guys should watch. I don't know if you've watched this movie or not, but just so like we talked because we talked about a lot of crazy shit. There was a new movie that I watched that I really enjoyed. It's called, oh my God, I'm forgetting the name right now. Let me just scroll my feed because I talked about it. It's a new Orlando Bloom movie.
You did miss Deranged Lunatics super chat.
Did I? DL? I missed you. I missed your super chat. How dare I? Let me go back. We're going back. Which one was it, DL? Was it Derek Dixon started in... Oh. DL for $1.99 says Derek Dixon starring in Doing Hard with Tyler. Jesus.
Say get hard, doing hard.
How did I miss that?
I have no idea. I had to scroll up and find it.
There it is. Thank you, DL. And thanks for letting me know. This movie, though, hold on. I was just scrolling my feed to find it. It was the new Orlando Bloom movie. Have you heard about it? I thought it was really good. This one. It's called Deep Cover.
I've not heard of it.
Let me show you the poster. I was really depressed the other night. I've kind of been fighting depression because of this whole thing with Iran. And I was like, I just need a movie that's good. And I saw comedy, and I knew this guy from Ted Lasso, and I thought he was funny in Ted Lasso. And it just said, a comedy thing. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to watch it. Like, I just need something mind numbing. And it was so good, man. It was so lighthearted, funny, didn't take itself seriously. Just, like a fun movie, which is really freaking rare these days. Like no messaging, no politics, just a fun movie. I don't even want to tell you what it's about, but Sean Bean is in it. It's good. It's just a good movie. So I highly recommend it to everybody in the chat and you, maybe for your movie night, to check it out. So there you go. Thank you again, Comix, for coming on. As for me, you guys can find me here on Friday, and I'm going to have a special guest. I believe Anna, that Star Wars girl, is going to be joining me. We've burned talks to make it happen for my good news show. And we're going to probably be celebrating my 5-year anniversary on YouTube as well. So that'll be a good day, big day. And we're going to be talking about, just good news, cute animals, all the good things that are the opposite.
Speaking of cute animals, I'm trying to get my dog to jump up. Oh, here we go.
Oh, look at the cutie! Oh, it's a little doggo. You're so cute. Oh, look at those! Look at those teeth.
He's very bitey. He's the one who's a bit on the aggressive side. He's a sweetheart.
Oh, he's like, I'll bite you.
I like to call him the orc dog because of the underbite. He's part pug, which is why he's got the underbite. This is because of the pug.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Um,
He's funny because I like to joke and say that he's kind of an amalgamation of dog parts because he's part terrier, pug, and dachshund.
oh my
And
God,
you
that's
can
hilarious.
you can see the dachshund in his front legs and his brow chest.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Look at the puppy.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yes, he is. I'm trying to make sure he doesn't bite me.
Arc dog.
Orc dog. Orc
Arc
dog.
dog. Oh, I love doggies. Well, thanks again, Ian. And yeah, so you guys can find me on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern on here. We're gonna be hanging out with Anna. So come back then. And thank you everybody here for tuning in tonight and chiming in. Special thanks to those of you who super chatted, became a member, gifted memberships, all that good stuff. Thank you for supporting the channel. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.